Trevor Mallard.
Speaker, my question is to the Minister of Education and asks, what alternatives to her current approach to national standards did she consider before she introduced legislation on the subject?
The Honourable Tolley.
Mr Speaker, I considered the approach of the outgoing Labour government, which saw almost 1 in 5 students leaving school without the skills that they need to succeed in the modern economy. I rejected that approach in favour of legislating for the ability to set national standards to meet National's promise to New Zealanders in the 2008 election.
The Honourable Trevor Mallard.
How many school annual reports did she read as she was finalising this decision?
The Honourable Tolley.
Many.
The Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr. Speaker, what is her understanding of the reporting requirements in school annual reports in relation to academic progress for the year 2009?
The Honourable Tolley.
Mr Speaker, I'm very happy to answer the question, but I don't actually have responsibility for the variance reports that individual schools report. They are required to report to their community and to the Ministry, but what they actually put into that is entirely at their responsibility.
Point of order, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
It was a pretty simple question about her understanding of the reporting requirements. I think the Minister got close to it at the end. No, she told us what
order.
she didn't. She told us what she didn't have responsibility for. She didn't tell us what she did.
Order. I hear the point the member's making. The member, what I do is invite him to repeat his question, because he was not, as I understand it, asking about the contents of any particular report, but the requirements which the Minister does have responsibility for. I invite him to repeat his question.
Mr. Speaker, what is her understanding of the reporting requirements in school annual reports in relation to academic progress for the 2009 year?
My apologies, I did mishear the question. Schools are required to report on variances on targets that they have set against their charter on an annual basis, both to their community and to the Ministry.
Colin.
Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Supplementary question to the Minister of Education. Why did the government introduce the Education National Standards Amendment Bill in December 2008?
The Honourable Tolley.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Tolley.
The government was elected with a strong mandate for change. Parents told us they want clear and plain language reporting on their child's progress at school, and they shouldn't have to wait for that. The National Standards legislation was passed in the first 100 days of the John Key-led government because this government knows that raising education standards is critical to New Zealand's success in the modern economy.
The Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Supplementary question. Mr. Speaker, as she read the many school reports, as she indicated to the House earlier, and understands the importance of the variance part of those reports, which of those reports did she refer to the Ministry for follow-up?
The Honourable Tolley.
Mr. Speaker, I received my warrant as a Minister on the 18th of November, and the piece of legislation that enabled the Minister to set national standards was passed on the 9th of December. I referred none to the Ministry in that time.
The Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Do I take it from the Minister's response that in spite of the fact that she saw many reports as she was finalising this decision, and she understood the variance, none of them, the variance requirements, none of them required further attention?
The Honourable Tolley.
Mr. Speaker, I referred none of them to the Ministry between the date of accepting my warrant and putting the legislation through the House.
Supplementary question.
The Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr. Speaker, if none of those many reports that she received in that time period were bad enough to require Ministry attention, what was the problem she was trying to legislate for?
The Honourable Tolley.
Mr. Speaker, This government was elected with a mandate to improve educational standards because almost 1 in 5 children, almost 150,000 children in our education system are failing. They are leaving school without the skills in reading, writing and maths that they need to succeed. That was the mandate. That was why the legislation was passed in the first 100 days.
Question number 6, Dr. Jackie Blue. Order.